Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, dwyervip.com. Today is July the 12th, 2017. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now, this Floyd Mayweather-Conor McGregor fight is going to introduce a lot of people from MMA to boxing and vice versa. Now, in my favorites folder here on YouTube, I've actually showcased two MMA commentators who are excellent, right? The first is Fight Tips. Fight Tips has 1.2 million subscribers, right? Million. Not thousands of subscribers, but over 1 million subscribers. He talks about what Conor McGregor does to be effective, operating out of a southpaw stance. Right? He talks about the fact that McGregor is really a counterpuncher, and that McGregor does certain things we'll recognize in boxing, right? Southpaw stance, but he changes his shoulders. So his shoulders are orthodox. If you're a fan of James DeGale in boxing, right, you know what he's talking about. And he talks about McGregor doing certain things like, baiting you into throwing certain punches so he can land his big left counter, which is his game, right? And it's a left counter predominantly up top. Let's remember, in MMA, if I want to hit you in the ribs, I can do that with my legs. You can't do that in boxing. No kicking allowed. The next video is interesting. Also interesting, I should say. It's from MMA Coach. And in that video, they talk about Conor McGregor's spacing. He is a master at setting up the spacing so that when you throw punches, he's just a little outside your range. But of course, when he throws punches, especially on counters, when you're leaning into his zone, he's able to land flush on you. Right? It's almost like they're talking about Vitaly Klitschko, the great heavyweight champion. Right? Outstanding videos. MMA Coach has more than 7,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Now, these videos are made for an MMA crowd, but I want my subscribers here who are into boxing to look closely at the videos. They show you that McGregor does have an excellent stand-up game by MMA standards, right? In other words, McGregor knows how to linger around the outskirts of the pocket, trying to bait you in so you're exposed, while he's landing left-hand counters up top. They even have films of Conor McGregor doing exactly that in the MMA Coach video. But here's what I want to ask people, because I'm expecting a knockout by Floyd Mayweather in this fight, right? I feel that the fight's not close, right? I'm one of those who feels that McGregor only has a puncher's chance, and wow, that chance is slim, right? What I want people to do as you look at these Conor McGregor videos is to just ask yourself, if I were to fight Floyd Mayweather, each of us, after having never fought, wearing boxing shoes, right, would I be prepared for the lateral movement, Floyd's ability to change the pocket? Will my own game be developed enough where I'll be prepared to move as fast as Floyd Mayweather? Now, I've heard from many MMA people, right? They've been upset with some of my earlier comments. But, right, as you look at the Conor McGregor videos, just ask yourself if that level of lateral movement remotely equates, remotely equates to the kind of lateral movement we see in boxing. Folks, in boxing, the guys have shoes. The guys are all over the ring. Right? I believe Conor McGregor is going to look like his legs, which are great legs in MMA, are in quicksand in a boxing ring. Right? Because he's accustomed to being barefoot. He's accustomed to his feet being a constant threat. In other words, an MMA guy kind of like moves his calf. You got to pay attention, don't you? Because the guy might kick you in the face with it. So you're like, in boxing, you move your calf, you better be moving your body. Nobody's going to care about your calves. Right? People, you know, let's just say, I know Floyd Mayweather now is in his 40s. I'm expecting him to move a lot better. Move a lot better than Conor McGregor. Because MMA is a barefoot sport, the sports don't equate when it comes to leg movement. Right? I believe an Ali would have these big heavyweights in MMA looking like they're standing still. Let's go one step further. As you look at McGregor, right, and he's going to be trying to land big left hands. There's a corollary to an orthodox fighter fighting a southpaw and being told throw straight right hands. And that corollary is for a southpaw fighter against an orthodox fighter to try to win by throwing straight left hands. Right? That's what McGregor is going to try to do against really this generation's best defensive fighter, Floyd Mayweather. But as you look at McGregor, again, MMA is a different sport. What I want you to do is to just look at his head. Right? Ask yourself, is his head on a swivel? In a boxing sense. When you see a guy in boxing who really knows how to move his head and hide his head, does Conor McGregor's head movement come close? I would say the answer is no. I think in boxing, because it's all about the upper body, right? There are no kicks. Guys are looking at you and they're trying to protect what? Their body, upper body, right? Not their legs. Their body and their head. Right? Isn't that the story? Unless it's an Andre Ward fight, the guy's trying to protect above the waist. Right? So, as you look at Conor McGregor's head, knowing that he's in a southpaw stance and is immobile, let me just ask the question. What is to prevent Floyd Mayweather from hitting McGregor in the head with left hooks? Folks, Floyd Mayweather's left hook might be his best punch. Right? It might be his best punch. Let's just say Conor McGregor, because he's accustomed to a full body attack, right? A full body attack. Let's just say I don't think he knows how to hide his upper body to deal with a fighter who is moving faster than a typical MMA opponent, in part because they're wearing shoes. Right? So Floyd's going to be moving faster than some of these barefooted Conor McGregor opponents. Then when he quickly steps in to throw the kind of left hooks that almost decapitated Diego Corrales, right? As you watch the films of Conor McGregor, what exactly is McGregor doing to hide his head from a left hook? Looks to me like his head's exposed. Occasionally he does move it a little bit. But understand, we've seen boxers with their head literally down below their shoulder. It's a different sport. Let's talk about weight. You know, McGregor, the lowest he's fought is 155 pounds. Did you know that? 155. He's fought in the 170s, folks. The lowest he's fought is 155. at least recently. Right? Now, Floyd Mayweather usually fights at 147, but has come up to 154 for some fights. So what you're going to have here isn't McGregor at his strongest. You're going to have McGregor weighing his lightest. Think about it. His lightest. Against Floyd Mayweather, who's going to be weighing his heaviest. The devil is in the details. So a lot of McGregor's power that you're seeing in some of these videos, you need to ask yourself, at what weight is he flashing that kind of power? You know, some of these guys, sure, they're big hitters. Golovkin, big hitter at 160. You and I know he wouldn't be the same big hitter if he were down at 147. Golovkin at one point said he'd be willing to fight Mayweather at 154, but balked about going lower than that, because we all understand at some point, even guys with big punches can lose too much weight to have that power survive the weight loss. So here you have a lighter McGregor, and oh, did I forget to add that he's going to be wearing 10-ounce gloves. So what I want you to do is to look at the Fight Tips video I mentioned earlier. The host of that show talks about how McGregor increases his power by making a fist, right? Closing his fist right before impact for his punches. And the host talks about how many people accustomed to using boxing gloves don't do so. Right? Because wearing a boxing glove is different than having your hand out there with a little, wrapping on it like they have in MMA. Well, what happens when it's a boxing match and Conor McGregor is actually wearing boxing gloves? Doesn't he lose the extra advantage he gets by knowing how to time making a fist as he throws it in an MMA match? Right? In boxing, guess what? He'll be wearing 10-ounce gloves. Right? He's not going to be able to have the advantage from being able to time when to make a fist. That's an MMA phenomenon. That doesn't translate in boxing. So isn't there a chance, since Conor McGregor is a great puncher when he's not wearing boxing gloves, isn't there a chance that Conor McGregor, especially at 154, is not going to be a great puncher when he's forced to wear boxing gloves in a match against Floyd Mayweather, who, let's face it, whether McGregor is wearing boxing gloves or not, is going to be hard to find in the ring. Right? So while I have no doubt that Conor McGregor would clobber Floyd Mayweather if this were an MMA match, right? The fact that it's a boxing match tells me that McGregor's going to have all kinds of problems. By the way, I don't expect Floyd to run away from McGregor. I expect Floyd to understand that in the pocket, which is where McGregor wants to be, Mayweather's going to have a distinct advantage. He's going to be able to get low in a way that an MMA fighter wouldn't want to, because that MMA fighter is going to want to always have access to their legs, right? You don't want to take away the threat of being able to kick your opponent in MMA by bending at the knees and all this other stuff. In boxing, hey, you're not trying to kick the other guy. Right? You're bending at the knees, you're bending deeper at the waist. It's a different deal. So I'm expecting Mayweather to be hard to find, then come in the pocket, be low, then come up top with left hooks, for which I'm expecting Conor McGregor to have no answers. Right? None. I'm expecting a stoppage. Right? I'm not expecting McGregor to last through the fight. And I believe the McGregor people understand that this fight might end very badly for him. In other words, he might be totally undressed. Because now we're hearing McGregor might never fight again. Right? Now, I don't blame him. I got to be blunt with you. If I were a boxer and someone handed me a check and I looked on that check and I saw 9 figures, I said to my accountant, wait a moment, is this $100 million or whatever it is? And he said yes. Hey, man, y'all might not see me back here on YouTube, quite frankly. Right? So I get that this is professional prize fighting. I get that, a big payday might actually alter someone's career plans, right? 1 minute the guy's saying, hey, I want to unify the belts. The next minute, the guy's so well paid that his wife's saying, honey, how much longer are you going to do this? And if I'm Carl Froch, I say, you know what? My bank account does look pretty good. Let me step away, even though I have all these other lucrative fight opportunities out there. So I don't blame McGregor for walking away. But understand, fighters also walk away when they've laid an egg, when they've taken a money grab, been in the ring, and gotten blown out. Right? Conor McGregor right now has the kind of air of invincibility that a guy has when he's on a good career roll. Right? Floyd Mayweather might take away that role from him to such an extent that McGregor might have to withdraw from the public for a while. Don't get me wrong. He's going to be well compensated. You could figure that one out just looking at the crowd they had at the recent press conference. These guys are going to make a mint. This event is going to make hundreds of millions of dollars. Right? But yes, I am expecting it to be lopsided because even in looking at MMA videos from Fight Tips and MMA Coach, and they're great, as I look at them, I still see a guy who's barefoot, who doesn't have a lot of head movement, whose idea of a back foot game is not a boxing back foot game. I understand in MMA, guys back up. Part of what makes McGregor great, and they mention it in both of the MMA videos I've put in my favorites folder, is he can actually hit you accurately while backing up. But let's just say, what they call backing up in MMA, right, where the guys are barefoot and they look barefoot, is very different than what I'm talking about when I'm talking about a back foot game in boxing, right? Especially when a guy is up on his toes and moves his feet and makes a show of backing up. Paulie Malignaggi, right? Sugar Ray Leonard, right? Let's just say I'm expecting Mayweather, especially since this fight is in Mayweather's discipline, boxing, right? Mayweather's a craftsman. This is his craft. I'm expecting Mayweather to really make an issue of the fact that McGregor will not be able to move around the ring as well as Floyd will. Right? So, I'm expecting a stoppage. I'm expecting McGregor to have a very hard time finding Mayweather. Right? McGregor is a fine MMA fighter, no question about it. This ain't MMA. Right? Don't let the fact that they throw punches in MMA fool you. This is boxing. It's the sweet science. The guys in boxing have studied the art of how to protect themselves above the waist, throw punches, develop strategies around the rules of the sport. Right? Conor McGregor is a dilettante in this discipline. He's going to get spanked. He has a puncher's chance. It's slim. I like Mayweather by stoppage. The punch I think Mayweather's going to find he has a phenomenal amount of success with is going to be that left hook. Right? Let me say this too. What they call jabbing in MMA ain't close to what we call jabbing in boxing. It's just a different punch. Right? I'm expecting Mayweather to find that he could just hit McGregor almost at will with his jabs, right? Should be an interesting spectacle. I believe it's going to be very educational for all of us. While I don't question the outcome, again, Mayweather by stoppage, right? I do think that this is a moment that is going to at least give the MMA community and the boxing community an opportunity to share in a big event, right? To introduce the boxing community to fight tips, videos, to MMA coaches videos, to MMA strategy, to past fights of Conor McGregor, to past opponents of Conor McGregor. Right? But when they get in a boxing ring, I'm expecting the boxer to dominate. Right? As I've said before, Floyd by KO, folks, you might not have to wait long. I think the mismatch is going to be apparent early. I think Floyd in his 40s is even going to move better than Conor McGregor. Anyway, that's how I see it. Look at the Diego Corrales fight to figure out the kind of power I'm expecting Floyd to flash. I know the Mayweather side of the aisle is trying to dumb down the fight. Right? Floyd saying, hey, I'm not the fighter I was 2 years ago. Floyd, you don't have to be to beat this guy in a boxing match. Right? I know the Mayweather side is trying to say, hey, he could catch me with a lucky punch. Right? Just imagine if Floyd said that every fight he's had. Right? At a certain point, maybe around fight 12, you would say, come on, Floyd, he's not going to catch you. Right? And that was against real fighters, boxers, not MMA guys trying to learn the sport. Anyway, that's how I see it. Let me hear from you to the MMA crowd. If you want to take exception with what I've said, or if you want to direct us to MMA videos to prove whatever point you want to make, then I hope you leave those comments in the comment section to this video. Thanks for stopping by.